There exists a category of creatures in this world that have been witnessed by only a small number of people, yet have never been officially recognized. We collectively refer to these beings as unidentified mysterious animals, abbreviated as UMA. Hello everyone, and welcome to the UMA series. In this episode, we bring you one of the most famous mysterious creatures in the United States, the Mothman. The Mothman, also known as a winged humanoid, is an unknown creature from American urban legends. It is said to have a pair of enormous wings, stand about 7 feet tall, with a wingspan exceeding 10 feet, and possess extremely fast flight speed. It has a humanoid form without a visible head, its body covered in black hair, and a pair of large, glowing red eyes located on its chest, resembling a headless arthropod missing its middle limbs. The Mothman was first sighted in the state of West Virginia in the United States on November 12, 1966, in a cemetery in Clendenin. Several men were preparing a grave for burial when a large, brownish, winged creature suddenly flew out from a nearby tree. Although the sighting was brief, they all insisted that what they saw was not a bird, but a humanoid creature. Soon after, just 3 days later, on November 15, 1966, the creature was spotted again in the TNT area. The TNT area refers to the region north of Point Pleasant in West Virginia, surrounding an abandoned munitions plant. During World War II, this facility produced ammunition and explosives, resulting in severe chemical pollution in the area. Around midnight, 2 young couples driving past a local power plant saw 2 glowing red eyes by the roadside and heard a piercing scream. They immediately stopped the car to investigate and discovered a humanoid creature about 7 feet tall, with folded wings on its back. Terrified, they quickly drove away from the area. After returning to town, still shaken, they suspected that the darkness might have caused a visual illusion. To confront their doubts, they decided to drive back to the TNT area. However, not long after, they spotted the creature again near Route 62. At that moment, they realized it was definitely not a bird. But when they shone their headlights toward it, the creature flew away at incredible speed. When they returned to town once more, they immediately reported the incident to the local police. 2 hours later, the police searched the area but found nothing. The next day, local media quickly reported the incident, and news of a giant humanoid creature in the TNT area spread rapidly. Influenced by the popular comic Batman at the time, the creature was given the name Mothman, inspired by a villainous character. In the following year, there were reportedly over 100 sightings in Point Pleasant, yet no actual photographs or concrete evidence were ever captured. It was not until the Silver Bridge incident that the legend of the Mothman reached a new peak. The Silver Bridge, built in 1928, was one of the major routes connecting West Virginia and Ohio. On December 15, 1967, the bridge suddenly collapsed, causing 31 vehicles to fall into the river, resulting in 46 deaths, 9 serious injuries, and 2 people missing. It is said that before the collapse, multiple people had seen a large winged humanoid creature flying nearby. Strangely, after this event, there were no more sightings of the Mothman in Point Pleasant. However, from that point on, similar sightings began appearing around the world. For example, in 1978, during a mine collapse in Freiburg, Germany, several miners preparing to enter the shaft saw a tall, black humanoid figure standing at the entrance. It emitted a sharp scream and then spread its wings and flew away. The men chose not to enter the mine, and a day later, the mine collapsed, saving their lives. Another example is the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear disaster, where people reported seeing a large gray creature flying over the reactor before the explosion. In 1999, before the Russian apartment bombings, witnesses claimed to have seen unidentified flying objects. On the day of the September 11th attacks in 2001, someone reportedly captured images of the creature near the Twin Towers. Before the 2011 earthquake in Japan, witnesses claimed to have seen a gray bird with red eyes above the Fukushima nuclear reactor. Between 2011 and 2017, sightings reached another peak, with at least 55 people reporting seeing the Mothman in Chicago. Countless rumors like these exist, most of them associated with disaster, death, and fear. The frequency of sightings has led many to believe that the appearance of the Mothman brings misfortune or foretells impending disasters. So, Does this eerie humanoid creature really exist? Some scholars believe that, much like other cryptid theories, the Mothman could actually be a large bird. Robert Smith, a wildlife biologist at West Virginia University, suggested that the Mothman might be a native North American bird species, specifically the sandhill crane. The sandhill crane is mainly distributed across North America, Cuba, and northeastern Siberia. It can grow as tall as a human with a wingspan of up to 7 feet and has red circles around its eyes. This theory originated from a December 1966 report in the Gettysburg Times and remains widely accepted today. Based on this idea, some believe that certain wildlife in the TNT area may have undergone physical mutations due to chemical pollution. American paranormal investigator Joe Nickell, on the other hand, suggested that it could be a bird similar to a barred owl, with the red eyes being a reflection effect caused by light sources. However, most witnesses reject these explanations, insisting that what they saw was not a bird, but a humanoid creature resembling one. Another theory suggests that the Mothman originates from Native American mythology, specifically a being known as the White Eagle. According to legend, an indigenous man named Wopi had a child with the daughter of a celestial guardian. The child and the woman were taken to the sky by a chief. One day, the chief gave Wopi a chance to reunite with his family by asking him to gather parts from every animal in the forest and let everyone choose one. Others chose legs, tails, claws, and so on, transforming into different animals and fleeing. Wopi and his family chose the feathers of the white eagle and ultimately transformed into white eagles, returning to the forest to live. Some locals believe that the flying creature people saw might have been the shadow of this white eagle. Of course, this romantic explanation does not convince most people. Another theory leans toward the supernatural, claiming that the Mothman is an extraterrestrial life form with the ability to foresee the future. This is also one of the most widespread and mysterious interpretations. After the Silver Bridge incident, this theory spread rapidly. However, the actual cause of the bridge collapse was due to design flaws and long-term lack of maintenance since its construction in 1928. The connection between the Mothman and the Silver Bridge was largely popularized by American paranormal writer John Keel in his 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies. In the book, he describes sightings of UFOs and the Mothman by residents of Point Pleasant as omens of the bridge collapse, and even mentioned threats from men in black. However, there is no concrete evidence to support these claims. In fact, no verified reports confirm sightings of the Mothman above the bridge before its collapse. A famous photograph often associated with the Mothman was actually taken in 2003 by a photography enthusiast, and later proven to depict nothing more than a piece of fallen metal. Most other alleged photos have also been debunked as hoaxes or products of horror art. It is worth noting that The Mothman Prophecies was adapted into a film of the same name in 2002 and released in the United States. In summary, while the possibility of the Mothman's existence cannot be entirely ruled out, it is likely not as mysterious as the legend suggests. I am more inclined to believe it is a large bird. First, the stories we hear today have already been exaggerated over time and further amplified by sensational media coverage, both domestic and international, making the truth even more obscure. During research, it was found that some online sources claim that the Mothman first appeared in China in 1926, with reports of a boy seeing it near a cemetery or multiple witnesses spotting it before a reservoir collapse. However, no credible sources could be found to support these claims, and most records mention them only briefly. This makes such stories highly questionable. Additionally, some online encyclopedias claim that many residents of Point Pleasant who witnessed the Mothman between 1966 and 1967 later suffered mental issues or died, and that the case was sealed as a classified file by the United States security agencies. However, one of the witnesses, Linda Scarberry, gave multiple interviews in 2001, confirming that the others were still alive, and she herself only passed away in 2011. Therefore, this claim is also false. If misinformation exists even in domestic media, it is easy to imagine that exaggerations abroad are even more extreme. Moreover, many so-called disasters predicted by the Mothman can actually be traced back to human impact on nature. Mysterious creature stories tend to attract attention from pseudoscience followers, often distorting public perception. Rather than attributing responsibility to unknown entities, it is more meaningful to reflect on our own actions. Today, regardless of the truth, the legend of the Mothman has become a part of popular culture. Its unique image frequently appears in films and video games. Since the release of the Mothman Prophecies film in January 2002, the story has been widely promoted. Point Pleasant, known as the hometown of the Mothman, has experienced a tourism boom. In September of that year, the first Mothman Festival was held to celebrate its cultural significance. That same year, sculptor Bob Roach created a 12-foot-tall Mothman statue for the town. In 2005, the Mothman Museum opened across the street from the statue. Every September, more than 15,000 visitors come to see it. Whether the Mothman truly exists no longer seems important to the locals. For us, perhaps it is best to let it remain a mystery. After all, the unknown will always be greater than the known, and that is the true charm of Uma. That concludes this episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to share your thoughts and support the channel.